Patrick Viera has been very opinionated because on Wednesday, October 10th, 2012, he said that English youngsters are not committed to the national team. And the former France World Cup winning midfielder Patrick Viera believes English players lack technique and tactical acumen compared to the Spanish, but also feels they lack commitment to the cause. The new English National Training Centre at St George's Park and an academy being built by Man City should help England to produce more talented young players, added former Arsenal midfielder Viera, who is football development executive at English champions Manchester City. However, the 1998 World Cup winner said young players appear too willing to use injuries as an excuse to skip matches when called up for national team matches at various age levels. In England, I really don't understand how come so many young players from the age of 16 to 21 pull out of the national team for injury. Viera went on to say, I think it's maybe the lack of FA, Football Association, power. Yeah, I don't think it's a lack of power from them. I think it's the clown show running it. But anyway, that's just me. But Viera went on to say maybe this is as well a lack of love for the national team. Added Viera speaking at a function during the Leaders in Football conference at Stamford Bridge. When I grew up in France, I wanted to play for the French national team. That was my target, my dream. And I don't feel like in England, the young players are dreaming of playing for the national team anymore. Viera said he was not sure why attitudes had changed and believed that young players should want to play with the best to improve themselves. English teenagers lack the technique, vision and tactical acumen of their peers in France, Spain and the Netherlands, and coaching had to improve, Viera said. The heart of the English player is double or triple that of the Spanish or French player. That is a good base to start with. Michael Owen, on the same day, Wednesday, October 10th, 2012, Michael Owen claimed that there was a long list of England players who were paralysed by fear when turning out for their country. Owen, who earned 89 caps between 1998 and 2008, revealed he knew of international teammates who were scared stiff of criticism of their performances and of being jeered by their own fans. The 32-year-old felt that that was a major reason why England had underperformed in recent years. Speaking at the same Leaders in Football conference at Stamford Bridge, the Stoke striker said, I've heard many people in the past leading up to England games or after England games talking about what the papers are going to say the next day about them or how they're going to get booed. He added, it's a very intense feeling playing for your country, and I don't think people can express themselves, or I don't think people do express themselves as well as they can, or they do at club level. At that level, you feel loved. The fans are on your side. You're used to playing with the players week in, week out. All of a sudden, you go away with England, and it's a little bit, as long as I do all right, I don't want to be criticised so much. There's certainly a bit of fear. So, you know what, yeah? Michael Owen, I don't know. I see it as a cheap cop-out.
Definitely.
In terms of a fear factor. There shouldn't be a fear factor. There should be a pride factor. You should be beating your chest before you go out on that pitch like, yes, I'm playing for my country. I want to play for this team. I want to do well for this team. You should want to do well for your country more than you want to do well for your domestic teams, in my view. Because at the end of the day, you can't get no higher than playing for your country. You can't get no higher than that.
But not only that, on the flip side, other nationalities, they're going through the same sort of pressure. You know, everyone wants to win a World Cup, wants to win a European Championship. Yeah. So saying that it's because you're scared, that is one of the biggest cop-outs you could actually come up with.
Yeah, because think about it. Some of these players, all right, let's take Steven Gerrard for example, or Frank Lampard, for example. One of them was two men. Sorry, I couldn't help that. Sorry, Jamie, couldn't help that. Jamie Bailey couldn't help that. I'll stick a fork in it. But basically, two men right there. Gerrard, don't say that, I'm going to laugh now. Gerrard and Lampard, taking them as examples. I'm not saying they had the fear factor, but I'm saying if they were to have it, it would be very strange because these guys have played in Champions League finals.
Yeah.
I think it's two each. It's two Champions League finals each. You think a fear factor is going to affect them? I mean, I could understand with younger players, but I don't think with players like that. I don't think it's an excuse. I don't think a fear factor of, what are the papers going to say? You know what? Regular listeners, you will know my views on the papers as it is, especially the tabloids, the parasitic media. I personally could give less than a damn what they say because they don't even deal in fact. They deal in rumour and supposition, but they ought to deal in facts a lot more often. Yeah, journos, if you're listening, pay attention. Use your brain, use your loaf. But anyway, it was one of them was with Viera saying, yeah, the whole tactical acumen thing, I can understand that because it shows. It shows in terms of tactical acumen and basically technical ability. It shows that we are years behind other countries. And St. George's Park opening is I think is going to be crucial to this because the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge opened England's National Football Centre, which cost £105 million. I mean, that opened on October 10th, 2012 as well. And we were tweeting about that as well. But basically, the key facts about it is set on a 330-acre site. Pitches include a full-sized indoor 3G surface. There's 11 full-size outdoor pitches, an elite Deso training pitch, a Wembley replica, and a 60-metre by 40-metre indoor sports hall. Now, it's going to be very interesting to see, and we won't see the results. We won't see the results of St. George's Park for another at least 5-10 years. At least 5-10 years.
Yeah, that's if we see any results
at all. Yeah,
at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Honest,
I mean, it's an elite coaching centre.
Personally, and I'm not trying to disrespect what they're trying to achieve, but personally, I just see it as a big site, to make a lot of money. To be honest, I think that the key was to get a lot of clubs investing in academies and improving player precision and stuff like that. There potentially getting clubs to improve how they train coaches and stuff like that. But put on one site for the FA to control all, and have overall control. Not overall, but to make it look as if they have overall control and they're superior because their centre is superior to everyone else's. Mm-hmm. To me, it's just them putting themselves above the hierarchy of everyone else and saying, look, we're the FA, we've got our own centre. You got to come here to be known. If you go anywhere else, you're just anybody. That's how I see it personally.
So you kind of seeing it as the FA versus the Premier League. Who's got the biggest Johnson, as it were?
That's what.
Who's got the biggest Manchester? We got the most facilities.
Manchester City are aiming to build another big complex of their own.
Yeah,
do you get what I'm saying?
200 million complex. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Clubs are investing and trying to build up their own complex, and that's all I thought the FA have tried to achieve.
Yeah.
Because they know they kind of stagnated when they never got it moving earlier on, when they had all their discrepancies over where it was going to be based, when they didn't know where the new Wembley was going to be and all that sort of chicanery that they was talking about. Yeah. But it's like, to me, it's just, I don't know how serious it is because 26 England teams from under eights or wherever upwards, training coaches, but and then renting out the facilities to other sports. That's all I got from the whole thing. That was the main message. Yeah. And if any other sports, athletics, basketball, whatever, want to use our facilities, come and use it, and then show a nice little shiny pool. Okay, great. And a couple of bikes, great. Got a couple of pitches, great.
See the thing is, I'm kind of confused as to who it's going to benefit most. I mean, is it going to benefit coaches most? Is it going to benefit players most? I'm not sure. That's the one thing I'm not sure about. Hopefully it will benefit everyone equally, but whenever you create something, it never benefits everyone entirely equally. But I'm just thinking to myself, I'm just not completely sure. I'm just not completely sure of who it's going to who it's going to benefit. And that's the thing for me. That's the concerning thing for me. Because if there's no if you've got no focus, then how are you going to get to your end goal? Yeah. And if you haven't even got an end goal, then how in the blue hell are you supposed to get focus?
Yeah. But you know what? Taking it onto focus,
Yeah.
Looking at what Patrick Viera was saying about English players being cop-outs and blah, 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 not wanting to play at certain levels.
Yeah, that's a disgrace, to be perfect.
I don't agree with that. Personally, I don't agree with that, because at the end of the day, young players, middle-aged players or older players, they don't know where the national team is going or where it wants to be. Because they don't know, because club managers don't want them to play at certain times, want them to play at certain times. You know, you got... Take it back to Arsenal. Arsene Wenger doesn't like young players playing for the England team. He's always moaning. Do you get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, what message is that sending to a young English player? Arsene Wenger's a great manager. He says if I play too early, I'm going to end up getting injured and burn out. No, I don't want to play for England when I get older. I'll wait till I'm 25 or so and to see if I can break through then. You know, to be honest, it's a systematic thing in my eyes. Like, and with the England national team, to be honest, I don't think they open enough doors to allow players through. They keep the same. And this is another point where I'm going to go with this whole academy thing. That they're making. To me, it's gonna, shrink the size of how many players can actually make it through into the England setup. Because if you start there from the age of just say 10, and you manage to make your way all the way up through to your, to the first team when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, past that, 22, and just say 11 of your mates who were there as well make it as well.
Yeah.
How many players are really going to break through to the English team, from outside of the academy?
So you think it'll end up turning into a good old boy network? Almost?
It already is going to be a good old boy network. That's the whole philosophy.
Yeah.
It's its own football club.
It's supposed to be an elite.
It's its own football club.
Yeah, massive. But there are other countries who have successfully implemented something like this.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, there is the potential that it could be to the detriment of the club of the domestic game.
No.
The reason why I say potentially is because we've already got enough club v country rows as it is with releasing players.
Yeah.
So who's going to have priority on the best players? Is it going to be the FA? Is it going to be the clubs? Because the clubs are going to have a lot more money riding on it.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, no, we should have it. And there's already this push and pull between club and country anyway. So St George's Park could potentially exacerbate that. But then at the same time, it could be another avenue for elite players to get through. The ones who don't get through or seen at domestic level because of cheap foreign imports. Like with Arsenal bringing in like your Cesc Fabregases at like 15, 16 and that kind of thing. It may be that the FA might give an English player a chance at that age instead. Because that's the aim. Because I think that's one of the big aims. That was one of the big aims that Trevor Brooking was talking about. What was it? Yeah, we've got to bring it to life with the quality of coaches and raise that level of English players in the Premier League. At the moment, it's 35%, and we'd like to raise it to 45, 55, 65%. The depth of choice then for the England senior coach would be much greater. That's a challenge for us all. And that's a direct quote from Trevor Brooking, Sir Trevor Brooking. So I could see that's an end goal. But as I said, we're probably not going to see the fruits of that labour for another 5-10 years. Which I don't mind long term, because if you don't plan for a future, you ain't got one.
By all means.
But let's throw this out quickly. Mike Harniman, you wanted to jump in. We wanted to jump in first. You wanted to have a say on the Viera thing and the whole England issue that myself and the Gman have just debated. What do you want to say, Mike? Floor is yours.
Basically, what it is, I don't agree with what Viera was saying at all, because I think the players, if they feel like a knock or something and they've got a big game coming up at the weekend, like say it's Arsenal, United or whatever, they're going to want to be fit for the actual Premier League game at the weekend.
But at the end of the day, your country should take priority over your domestic club. In my
that's true as well. But like the players, when it comes to that, they don't seem to actually feel the pride of like what they do for the club at all. See, and they sort of bottle it, if you know what I mean.
No, I do know what you mean, and that's the scary thing. That it's like, oh no, I don't feel like playing for my country. When it should be, when you're called up, that should be the biggest moment of your career. whether it happens once, whether it happens 98 times, like Ashley Cole, for instance, whether it happens once, whether it happens 98.
If you're looking like when you're a kid or when you're growing up and you're looking at it like that, there's so many people that aspire to being an international player.
Yeah, mate. It's one of them. If I was given the chance to play for England tomorrow, I literally would drop everything because that's a chance of a lifetime. Yeah, because it's a chance of a lifetime.
Exactly.
And that's what we need to cultivate again. That pride. The National Football Centre may do it. It may not, but we're not going to be able to see that for a while. So, I mean, Lily Alumi, you wanted to jump in as well on this.
Yeah, I was just thinking what Mike was saying actually about the whole thing. I don't condone for 1 second what Patrick Viera said. I just think they should just put their country first, like you were saying. And if it's that they're young, so what? If they're ready to play, does it really matter? If they're good enough to play for their country, then they should, whatever age they are.